Allies of former Vice President Mike Pence are launching a new super PAC to support his expected candidacy for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. The launch is the latest sign that Pence is moving ahead with his expected bid for the GOP nomination, a move that would put him in direct contention with his former boss, former President Donald Trump. The group sees early voting Iowa as critical for Pence and plans to launch their efforts there before expanding to other states, including New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada. We are now joined by Laura Wilson, a pre-law advisor and associate professor at the University of Indianapolis, to discuss Pence's potential presidential bid. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you.
So this launch of this new super PAC, latest sign, Pence is expected to bid for the GOP nomination. What are experts saying about this move by the former Indiana governor?
Well, it certainly does indicate that he will in fact run, even though he hasn't made that formal announcement just yet. And it's an important step because having this super PAC allows him to start fundraising immediately, even absent that announcement. Now, the founders of the super PAC, this is the Committed to America PAC, have talked about it as a rebranding of sorts for Pence. And of course, he's probably best known for being the vice president to former President Donald Trump, who's also running and has announced that he wants to be president in 2024. But this would allow him to separate himself in a certain way and start to kind of refashion, give us a sense of what his campaign would be, who Pence would be like as a presidential candidate, and who he'd be like if he was ultimately elected to presidency.
You know, public perceptions of Pence colored by his time in the Trump administration. How do you think Indiana voters will respond to that?
Generally, I think they will still respond fairly positively. And of course, we're talking about Republican voters in the primary. I think they know Pence best, right? And he's always said that he is a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican. And that, I think, would play fairly well, especially amongst Republican voters here in the Hoosier state. The larger question, though, that looms is that he doesn't need Indiana necessarily as much as he needs New Hampshire, Iowa, South Carolina, as you said in the introduction. Indiana has late primaries, and we're not the largest state. So I think in terms of how he positions himself, as much as he cares for his home state, really his concern has to be in some of those other states earlier in the primary season, and also being able to differentiate himself from some of the other candidates who've either declared formally, like Trump or Haley, but really like Ron DeSantis, who hasn't declared, but is another speculated candidate we expect will announce very soon.
Yeah, I'm just going to add, you know, Pence faces an uphill battle to the nomination. A lot of the attention, as you say, focused on Trump, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Do you think Pence will be taken seriously as a contender within the GOP?
I think he should be taken seriously, but a lot of the polling indicates he still has a long way to go. There were 3 separate polls in May earlier this month, and he hovers right around 5% in terms of likely Republican primary voters that would select him, whereas you have Donald Trump in the 50%, Ron DeSantis in the 20%, right? And third place is better than fourth or fifth, but of course, first, second, third, you have to be the first in terms of winner-take-all politics. So I think that is something that he's going to have to, it's a challenge for his campaign. He's going to have to overcome very quickly in order to be successful beginning the primary season.
We just have under 30 seconds, so really quickly, President Biden said he will run again as the Democratic nominee. How do you think voters will respond to this?
Well, I think they will be looking at him and making an evaluation. Are they better off now than they were 4 years ago? We don't expect necessarily to have a strong Democratic challenger against an incumbent president. That could potentially happen. But for Biden, he has a record, and his argument is going to have to be, I will continue this, you're better off now, and you will be 4 years from now if reelected.
Laura, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.